Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ English. In the news right now is Manipur. Recently, the Sangai Festival in Manipur began with lots of enthusiasm, with lots of spirit of celebrating the culture, its beauty, tradition. But at the same time, there have been protests coming from various internally displaced people, from some members of NGOs and various social groups, which has impacted the overall attendance this year. People are also blaming the government, saying that the government should have prioritized solving the Kuki-Zo and Meitei ethnic issue and resettled the displaced people before any tourism promotion event or a cultural celebration should have been hosted. All this in the light of the May 2023 violence that had paralyzed the state. But today, as people gather to celebrate a beautiful expression of Manipur's culture, the Sangai Festival, yes, there is a lots of enthusiasm, there is lots of fervor about it. So in this quick video that relates with GS Paper 1, unique forms of art and culture in India, let's understand what the festival is about and also a little bit about the Sangai deer itself. Now, Sangai Festival is celebrated in the state of Manipur. That's an important thing to remember for the exam. And it's an annual celebration which had begun back in 2010. Why is it called the Sangai Festival? Because it has taken its name after the state animal, the Sangai. The aim of the festival is to show Manipur's rich cultural heritage, beautiful dances, music, and indigenous, that is, local traditions. The festival promotes the culture extravaganza of Manipur through music, various forms of dance, narrative art forms that are a part of many tribes living in Manipur. So it is among huge enthusiasm that this year also the festival has started, although marred by some protests here and there. But now looking at the state's classical dance form, the Ras Leela, very famous dance form from Manipur. It is also known for its distinctiveness, its unique style. It also becomes a main attraction in the festival right now, attracting thousands of tourists from India as well as outside every year. So remember about the classical dance form, the Ras Leela. So 2-3 facts from UPSC, important for the exam. Now the theme for 2025. Every year the festival comes with a different theme, a unique theme. This year the theme is Where Blossoms Breathe Harmony. So that's the theme here. Now let's remember the word harmony once again symbolizes that we need to recreate peace, cooperation, solidarity back in the state. After so much violence, after so much ethnic disturbance that has been happening in the state in the past few months. So therefore, the celebration of the festival emphasizes on the word harmony for 2025. That's unity. Now looking at the Sangai deer, after which the name of the festival has also been taken. It's a state animal and it is endemic to Manipur. Okay, so it is only found exclusively in the area of Manipur. Commonly, it's also known as Sangai, the bro-antler deer, the dancing deer. So quite an important fact here, the dancing deer, the same as the Sangai deer. It has immense cultural relevance to the state, the culture tradition of Manipur. Where do you really find it in Manipur? Talking about the geographical spread, yes, you can find this only in the Kebul Lamjao National Park. This was in the news a little while back also. In the park, there is a single largest mass of fumdi. Fumdi we have spoken about, that are pieces, chunks of floating vegetation. Okay, so here in the Kebul Lamjao National Park, where you find the fumdi, it is right here in the Loktak Lake, where you find the population of Sangai deer, usually in Manipur's Bishnupur district. So Manipur, Bishnupur district, do remember about the Fumdi, remember about the Kebul Lamjao National Park, which is uniquely situated in an area where you find so many species, subspecies of the endemic Sangai deer. It is a very medium-sized deer, uniquely distinctive antlers. That's what is the main identification for this subspecies, with extreme long brow line, which also makes it stand apart from other subspecies of the deer. So remember, it's found endemic only in this region, the Kabul Lamjau National Park, which was also in the news recently. Now, a very good question. Why was it in the news recently? We will come to that. But before looking at the Sangai deer, if you look at the conservation status, like we do for various other flora and fauna, looking at the International Union for Conservation of Nature, which releases periodically its red list to identify endangered, vulnerable species of plants, animals, the Sangai is critically endangered. Very recently, we had spoken about the olive ridley turtle as well, when we were talking about the Great Nicobar project. Yes, if you remember. So now talking about the Sangai deer, it's critically endangered. If you look at the Wildlife Protection Act of India 1972, it is highlighted in Schedule 1. That means animals which need a topmost safety. They need to be protected on a very serious level. We need to do everything for their conservation and protection. Now, it is nowadays, in the last few years, there has been a threat to the species of the Sangai. Let alone that poaching, hunting are existing fears, but there is a bigger fear. The fear is the degeneration or the degradation of the Fumdi habitat, because the deer is found only here. If the Fumdis, the floating grasslands, if they experience a degradation, naturally it's a threat to the existence of the Sangai deer as well. There has been a continuous inundation. They are being submerged in the water from artificial reservoirs that have been created. At the same time, paragrass is also in the news. What is paragrass? Paragrass is a non-native invasive species. A species of grass that is not native to this region, but it has a very high coverage rate. It is an invasive species that spreads really fast, and that also is a danger to the existence of the Fumdi as well as the Sangai deer. Because we are talking about the Loktak Lake in Manipur. The unique Loktak Lake, Northeast India's largest freshwater lake. So if you look at the northeastern part of India, there it is the largest freshwater lake, unique for floating mass, as I mentioned, called as Fumdis. They are intertwined with each other. Okay, and they almost look like thick mats of vegetation, thick mats of plants. Locally, yes, we call them the Fumdis. Now, these form a thick biomass. Remember, they are thick. That's why they support so much population, and they shelter about 206, that's a huge number, 206 critically endangered Sangai deer, the one that we just looked at, the state animal. In the southern corner of the Loktak Lake, which is inside the Kabul Lamjau National Park, and that's the only place you will find the Sangai deer. Today, not only this area is an inspiration to the cultural practices of Manipur, but also it demands utmost protection because of the degradation of Fumdis. Yes, anthropogenic causes. At the same time, how it impacts the existence of this unique species of deer. Yes, this is how Fumdis look like. So we need utmost protection for them. Now, in that light comes the question of paragrass. How has paragrass been disturbing this whole ecosystem? Because in Manipur, paragrass is an invasive species. A species that doesn't belong to this place, but once it enters, it spreads really quickly. It overtakes the local native plants, and that's why it causes a danger. It is a threat to the Kabul Lamjau National Park. That's the only home of Sangai deer. Why does it harm so much? Because it completely chokes the indigenous plants. If the paragrass is going to choke the local plants, what will the Sangai deer eat? Because the Sangai deer subspecies rather, is dependent on eating the local plants found only in this region. At the same time, it is also, nowadays, the paragrass is also being utilized for its potential, for its great use as a raw material in making bioethanol production, because it has a very high cellulose content. So not only will it attract more extraction, more human interference in the ecosystem, it also reduces the survival of local plants. Ultimately, it disturbs the whole food chain. The last sufferer here becomes the Sangai subspecies of deer, the Sangai deer population. So it has a highly nutritious content as a fodder grass, but it grows too much. It grows too fast because it's invasive, and this growth has led to an ecological concern to the state's unique ecosystem, primarily the wetland ecosystem of the state. So that's why today it is utmost important to preserve the local biodiversity, and it is also about protecting this unique species of the Sangai deer. Now quickly the question, consider the following statements. 1. The Sangai Festival derives its name from traditional Manipuri dance called the Ras Leela, which is featured as the central performance in this event each year. Second, the Sangai is listed as endangered on the IUCN Red List, and it is found exclusively in the floating wetlands of the Loktak Lake formed by the Fumdi, the floating mats of vegetation. 3. The recent protest during the Sangai Festival was largely driven by internally displaced people affected by the ethnic conflict, demanding rehabilitation and a resolution of the ongoing ethnic violence. Before we proceed to celebrate any cultural event, which of these statements do you think are valid? It's an easy question. Try to answer. If you have any non-political, any non-individual oriented, UPSC relevant fact, vision, opinion that you want to share, you're most welcome to share it with us, and we can create a group discussion on that by adding to the comments. And a quick reminder about how today, being 25th November, admissions to the November batch are closing, a batch that promises you UPSC selection in 2027. Or if you are writing in 28, then 2028 as well. Because at a price of only 12,999, we are offering you entire prelims, including CSAT, all UPSC mains preparation, GS paper 1, 2, 3, 4, one optional of your choice, broad interview guidance, one-on-one mentorship, and the chance to learn from faculties of your choice. Lots of PDF, classroom notes, books, everything provided by us at this price. If you are interested, today is the last day. Use code SPLIVE, SPLIVE, whether you are writing in Hindi, medium, English or bilingual, that doesn't matter. Whether you want a morning, evening or weekend batch, we can accommodate that, provided you use code SPLIVE and it's a click away for you. Should you need more clarifications on this sale program here, even for 2028 we have a similar offer, then feel free to fill up a form that's here in the description box of this video. We will reach out to you. Similar offer for 2028. 31,999, 15 months plus training, UPSC mains, prelims, interview. Use code SPLIVE, admissions to the batch closed today. Thank you so much.